Alright, so there were enough mistakes on the quiz that we took yesterday that I want to go over this with you. On this first one, to get k alone, 5 is closest to k, the 8 is farthest away, so the first thing we need to do is add 8 to both sides. I'm not sure what happened to my 8 right there. Let me fix it. I need to add 8 to both sides. So when I add 8 to both sides, we get 5k is equal to n plus 8. Now we divide by 5, and what it should look like is n plus 8 on the numerator divided by 5 is how that simplifies. Over here on the second one, to get y by itself, I got 1/4 times a times y. The order cannot matter here, but I'm going to divide by a first. So what we end up here with 1/4 y equals w divided by a. Now, what is the opposite of multiplying by a fourth? Well, it's dividing by a fourth, but we don't divide by fractions. We multiply by reciprocals. So when I do that to both sides, now I have this fraction, w over a times 4 over 1, which simplifies. W times 4 is 4w over 1 times a is a. So 4w over a is how that one should have looked. There were a couple of things. If you just had 1/4 in the denominator, at this point I wouldn't call that a big deal, but that's how that should work. On the next one, a couple of you made a mistake where you forgot that -2 times -3 is +6. The other mistake that a few of you did was you forgot to flip that sign when you're solving for that variable. So be careful there. On this one, we did generally pretty good. Just make sure you get those things on the same side. I think the mistakes most of you made are very fixable, but make sure these are not like terms. You can't just combine them. You have to move the ends from one side to the other, and then the constants from one side to the other. Number 5 is the one I really want to talk about with you, because while there was a mistake with the question, so I actually threw this question out. I paid attention to your setup, but I only counted it as like 1 point. But the problem with the reason I threw it out is because that 85 should have been 87. There was no answer to the question, it turns out. But many of you did not set this thing up correctly. If you have 3 consecutive odd integers, like here's an example of some odd integers, right? 7, 9, and 11. If the first one is 7 and 9 and 11, how much more than 7 is 9? The answer to that is it's 2 more. So the next odd integer is 2 more than x. If x is the first one, the next odd integer is going to be x plus 2. And then this third one is going to be 4 more than the first one. Many of you said x and then x plus 1 and x plus 3. Okay, so the next odd integer is 2 more and then 4 more. It's never going to be 1 more. The next, if you went 1 more than, say, 7, you get 8, which of course isn't odd. And if you added 3 more than 7, you'd get 10. Hopefully that makes some sense. So then the setup should have looked like this. Most of your mistakes that I saw was this. Be very careful of this. Don't make that mistake on our test. But hopefully this can be helpful. Be learning from this. And yeah, good luck with it all. Let me know if you have any questions.